Hi everyone and welcome back to another video. So today I'm a little bit excited because I'm going to be showing you one of my successful runs using the dual sword fighter in the high roller lobbies. This is going to be a little different than what most of you are used to. It's not just a 3v1 or a full guide on the builds I'm using. This is going to be a bit of commentary and a bit more talking from me, but I wanted to show you guys how a high roller lobby works with this build. So I wanted to kind of prove that it is possible and it can work. You just have to play a whole different way. Especially as a solo player, the gear in these lobbies was getting absolutely insane, with purples and blues being pretty much the minimum. So just to set the stage for this, I do want to show you guys what happened in my two previous runs of this, where I lost probably my better kits. So I'm actually not using incredibly exciting gear here. I'm probably one of the lesser geared players in these lobbies. So first off, I had a team of two kind of corner me down this hallway. So I pot up, get ready for the fight, which I hope is just a ranger. I wish I had noticed he had aggro Wraith before leaving that corner, because now I'm screwed. So, licking my wounds and basically forfeiting 100 gold, I jump into another one, which ends with me picking the wrong opponent with the Barbarian, where I should have been attacking the Wizard. Yeah. So here we are again, losing another 100 gold. So, having learned from those past experiences, I decide, you know what, let's gamble a bit and get absolutely nothing. And then let's put together a dual sword build with a blue arming, blue short sword, and a blue crossbow. I think most of my actual gear itself is pretty basic and probably the standard stuff you can buy from the shop. So I'm not using anything incredible here. I'm just trying to make an attempt and learn basically how high roller works. So jumping into this, I'm going to be a little bit more passive, not quite as aggressive as I normally am in normal lobbies, and we're just going to see if we can be successful. It's not very often you actually get the chance to test out a crossbow, so 96 damage is actually quite nice, considering there's no added damage numbers or multipliers on that crossbow. It's interaction speed and movement speed, which is pretty crap, but overall, I think 55 damage with the short sword isn't horrible if you get into a tight situation with a rogue or something. And then the arming sword is really your main damage dealer. You know, 74 damage, 80 damage on the final stab, which has really good reach. On top of running Adrenaline Rush is awesome. Now, just a quick look around. I mean, these guys running Legendary Horseman's Axe and purple everything is pretty much what I'm up against. So yeah, you have to be so careful as a solo player. It's just incredible. These right here were the type of teams that you basically dread running into as a solo player, because even just a straight 1v1 with a guy with that type of gear is just incredibly difficult. Not to mention running probably a kit that isn't the recommended kit that most fighter classes are using, and on top of not using purple gear myself. Alright, so let's jump right into this and see how we do. So after seeing my crossbow do 96 damage, I was really expecting a couple headshots to this guy would be like, yeah, no problem. But apparently that first shot missed, so the second one didn't actually kill him, and now I'm losing a third of my HP just like that. Great. So tip number one, you never have enough meds in high roller, especially against mobs. You fight so many red mobs that just are such a battle. They're always chipping damage off you, and I understand people are going to say it's a noob thing to take damage from mobs. But you get yourself in a room surrounded by skeletons or death skulls as a solo player, you just don't have enough damage sometimes to deal with them all. So, not a great spawn, because this room is pretty much just aggro city with mobs all through it. But I do end up taking the basically escape route to the right, which is another kind of chaotic area. And we instantly have basically our first sign that there's players here. So, not an amazing feeling, but, you know, we can maybe navigate this and sneak through here successfully. Those green clouds are basically a key giveaway because they only do that when they're close to a player, meaning all these green clouds were someone fighting these zombies recently. Not really liking this spot at all right now because I'm getting pushed by zone. And what usually happens is, if you're outside zone trying to work your way in, you almost always run into a team of 3. And just like I expected, we have our team of 3. So I make the decision to actually fire a shot at them because I know this crossbow packs a punch. And chances are I'm going to be fighting these guys regardless of what's coming. So if I can draw them out, maybe 1v1 them, I have a chance. Chip some damage with the crossbow. So I retreat back to safety just to see if I can hear any footsteps. Only to find another team at the other end of this room. So I'm now pretty much pinched. That guy did get smacked by that, so he's definitely going to feel it. So now having players on both sides, I think to myself, well, maybe I can distract them and get them to fight each other. Yo guys, there's a team in there. Turns out this was completely unnecessary because they're actually already fighting another team. So I may be able to just sit this one out, sneak around, and snag some loot. Spotting the dead wizard on the floor, I'm thinking, huh, this could be my chance to make all that money back. So, moving around the outside of this and realizing that zone is quickly on its way, I kind of need to get going here. This ranger decides he wants to interrupt me. He burns quick shot into the wall, so basically this is my only chance. He backs off way more than I was expecting, which kind of makes it difficult because I don't want to get into a ranger fight with my crossbow. It hits hard, but the projectile speed just isn't great, and he can deal more consistent damage. So he eventually backs off. Maybe now I'll have time to loot that body. Nope. Knowing this fighter's do or die, I pop adrenaline rush. And then rely on attack speed and headshots. It seems no one in this lobby wants me to loot that wizard on the ground. Even winning this fight, this barbarian may have doomed me, but he has some nice gear, and it was fun to go 1v1 versus this guy. I'm just outside the zone with very little time and HP. This is when pot stacking becomes incredibly important. If I had second wind, I may be able to get some of this HP back, but I probably would have lost that fight without adrenaline rush. Hearing footsteps through this door, I'm thinking, like, how can this get any worse? I usually don't bring surgical kits, but I am some thankful I did for this run. Knowing I have to make a move because I'm lingering on here way too long. There's dead guys laying everywhere. It's just disaster zone out here. And this guy had some pretty solid stuff too. Finally getting a chance to actually heal up where I'm not taking damage over time. I can kind of look at some of the stuff I got, which really, if I survive this, would be a nice upgrade, or at least some stuff I could sell to maybe do this again. My whole thought process now is just basically survive this. I'm down to 3 pots with very little meds, so basically one more fight or one more screw up from a mob, and I'm pretty much cooked. I heard footsteps there somewhere, so I'm thinking that ranger is still somewhere close. And yeah, we have a ranger problem. Not sure if I aimed high enough here on this crossbow shot, but Landing that first crossbow shot is such a huge thing. That chunk of damage, especially against a ranger with such little projectile resistance, basically wins you the fight as a fighter because you can close the gap. I really don't want to be going to the left here because it's basically just an open firing range for quick shot. So I take the position behind the pillar. I'm not too worried if he catches me once because he burns his quick shot. And now's our chance. Can't believe that first swing missed, and now I'm in trouble. He makes the decision to play out spear and then switch back to bow, which thankfully it wasn't reloaded, and he didn't have quick shot. And really, he just chose wrong. He should have just kept a spear out. But I think if he had I probably would have backed off and tried to get my crossbow back up again. So, after having all those problems, and now I'm getting pushed by zone, kind of running out of meds, I might have been able to stay and kill these guys and loot a little bit, but there's just too many mobs for a solo player to deal with. And then you look, and here we have a team of 3 basically waiting. So if I didn't get that portal and ended up running into these guys, I was officially toast. And there's no way I'm going to be able to beat even a 1v1 with these guys. So overall, I think you can be successful with this setup. Dual sword fighter, any really build you can be successful with. It's just knowing that solo high roller is just incredibly difficult. You have to play around the edges and play to your strengths, and even still at the best of times, when lobbies start getting full with gear like this, it is a struggle. Like, you need to be on that level too, or else it is incredibly difficult. Okay, so the last thing I just wanted to say is, and something I absolutely hate doing, if you did enjoy this and enjoyed any of my other videos or some of my content, I would greatly appreciate it if you would subscribe and like this video. I hate doing this. It just makes me feel wrong. I want supporters that are just engaged in my content, and I don't want people thinking that they have to subscribe, you know what I mean? So I don't like doing it, and I promise you if we get to 1,000 subscribers before the next playtest, I won't ask you guys again. Even looking at my subscribers right now, I'm really impressed with how well some of my stuff's doing. I just basically want to be able to confirm that this is legit with people around me, and it'll make life probably a little bit more complicated, but I'm up to the task. So I appreciate you all. I thank you all for your support, and I hope you enjoyed the video. See you guys in the dungeon on April 14th.